Today on the Bible Taught with Simplicity, we're going to go into our Father's Word and we're going to be dealing with the subject of who is the beast. Revelation chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, the Apostle John says, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his 10 horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like to a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Now, this beast that the Apostle John sees is the exact same 4 beasts that Daniel saw in his vision. So let's go to the book of Daniel and pick it up in the 7th chapter. Daniel chapter 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel 7, verse 2. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great seas, referring to the Mediterranean Sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse, which means different, one from another. Daniel says in verse 4, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. He says, I beheld till the wings of it were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given to it. He says in verse 5, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said in this manner to it, arise, devour much flesh. He says in verse 6, after this I beheld, and behold, another like to a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. And the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And then he says in verse 7, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue or the remainder with the feet of it. And it was diverse or different from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. Now, these 4 beasts that Daniel sees represent kingdoms, because he tells us in verse 17, these great beasts, which are 4 kings, and a king can't be a king unless he has a kingdom. So these great beasts, which are 4 kingdoms, which shall arise out of the earth. So John saw the same thing that Daniel saw, except for he saw these 4 kingdoms all combined. Again, Revelation chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast, which we know represents a kingdom, rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. That's when you speak ill against God. Verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like to a leopard. Remember, Daniel saw a beast with 4 heads that looked like a leopard. So we see the leopard again. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. Remember, Daniel saw one that looked like a bear. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Remember, he saw one that looked like a lion. And then it says, and the dragon, which is a symbol for Satan the devil, gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. So we see the devil will be behind this united kingdom in the last days. Now, when we continue with verse 3 in Revelation 13, we begin to learn more about this beast. I saw one of his heads. Remember, it had 7 heads. 7 had 10 horns. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. So now we're about to go from talking about a confederation of 4 kingdoms that's united to one individual. So one of his heads, one of his leaders, received a deadly wound. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Verse 4, and they worshiped the dragon, which is Satan, which gave power to the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like to the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Now we're talking about an individual now. We're no longer talking about a kingdom of 4 united as one. When they see this individual look like he came back to life after receiving a deadly wound, they're going to say, who is able to make war with him? And then verse 5 says, and there was given to him, notice him now, we're talking about an individual now, a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Blasphemies are when you speak ill of God Almighty. And power, which means authority, was given to him to continue 42 months. That's exactly 1,260 days or 3.5 years. Verse 6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Verse 7 says, and it was given to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So this beast in Revelation is none other than the Antichrist. If this Bible study has been a blessing to you, and you want to bless me with a love gift of any amount, this is how you can do that. You could either send it through Cash App or Zelle. If you're going to use the Cash App, my code is $Barton 1014. But if you prefer to use Zelle, all you need to use Zelle is my name and my telephone number. My name is Barton Porter. My phone number is 630-441-4563. And underneath my videos, I have the links to both Cash App and Zelle. Now, here are non-financial ways you can support this ministry. I need the prayers of the saints. So pray for this ministry, saints, and share the videos with as many people as humanly possible. Now, if you have any Bible study questions or prayer requests, you can leave them in the comment section underneath the video. You can also email them to me at bartonaaronporter@gmail.com, or you could pick up your cell phone and call me at 630-441-4563. I live in Illinois, so I'm in the central time zone. Now, I have to take time to tell you about this app. It's called WhatsApp, and you can get it for free from the App Store. And as long as the people you're calling have the WhatsApp, you guys can talk free from anywhere in the world. So I encourage everybody, especially the people who do not live in the United States of America, to get WhatsApp, and then you can talk to yours truly for absolutely nothing. The last thing I want to say is don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. I want to thank you guys for watching. God bless you. I'll see you next time.